You know, there's an old saying, time flies, and it does. It's been 10 months since Charlie Kirk got assassinated. And, you know, I was a supporter of Charlie Kirk, his boldness, his willingness, and his ability to debate people anywhere. I was not only moved by his assassination, but I am interested in who did it and why. And I want to ask a couple of questions. Are you allowed to ask questions today? You know, when people ask questions, they get decried, conspirators or whatever. But I'm going to ask in any case, because when we stop questioning the narrative, we become closed to possibilities. As I've said, some people are so narrow-minded, they can look through a keyhole with both eyes. I mean, I just asked a question. Did Tyler Robinson shoot Charlie Kirk? Another question. If so, did he act alone? Another question. What really happened? I mean, I'm just asking, is there more to the assassination than some crazed, mixed up transgender person taking a vengeance out? I mean, what I can say is this. When you hear certain rhetoric, you've got to ask yourself what's really going on. You may recall just a few years ago, of course, safe and effective. That rant that went around the world just a few years ago was from politicians, from the media, from so-called influencers, safe and effective, safer. We just heard it over and over again. It was like slop was fed up to us. And of course, most people believed it, but it was all we heard. And today we're hearing from these same people in the pre-trial of Tyler Robinson that the evidence is overwhelming. I mean, I've listened to a number of reports and all that word is just overwhelming. And it's like, well, hello, something's up, because the evidence actually isn't overwhelming by any manner of means. And I mean, there's no eyewitnesses to start with. That's overwhelming evidence. And there's only grainy footage of someone on the rooftop, and what else will come out in the court case? There'll obviously be one. But, you know, I could go on, and I could even talk about, you know, the assembling and dismantling of a rifle, getting up on the roof, getting off the roof, leaving the screwdriver on the roof, nothing to reassemble the rifle when you got down. But it's like a whodunit, really. But now let's just keep it simple, because as I mentioned, it could just be another crazed transgender person shooting someone up. I mean, there's been a number of them in the States over the past couple of years. Nobody can deny that. And certainly Charlie Kirk upset them with his outspoken moral conservative views. And but because of the rhetoric, this overwhelming rhetoric and other anomalies, it makes one suspicious, and it forces one to ask questions, even though we're not supposed to ask questions today. We're just supposed to believe the narrative. But I know people love an open and shut case. They love to jump to conclusions as everybody just wants to move on. I mean, it really, like many things, but today it kind of reminds me of the injustice of COVID. No accountability. Let's just move on. But it's only fair to ask, was Tyler Robinson a lone gunman, or was he a patsy? Or were there others involved? Was it international interference? I mean, surely there's no harm in asking. Other people are asking. Amazingly, how some people get very upset when you do ask. But I wonder, why would one guy in the crowd jump up and say, I did it, and surrender when apparently he didn't do it? Maybe he was a nut. Maybe it was a distraction. Maybe he just wanted to be famous. I don't know. But Charlie Kirk, let's be honest, it was the highest profile assassination since JFK. And this is back in the 60s, of course, but what a cover-up in that case. And the truth still has not been told. The whole file has still not been released, even though it was promised that it would be released. People get into power and things change, don't they? But look at the so-called suicide of Epstein. I mean, the cameras in the cell go down so conveniently at the exact same time that Epstein was supposed to have taken his own life. But not only did the cameras go down, the guards were sleeping or shopping online or not watching, not doing the 30-minute rounds. I mean, can anybody really say he was not murdered? Who knows? No investigation, nothing to see here. Let's just move on. But that man, he seemed to have dirt on many prominent people from the prince down. You know, worse things that happen in prison, I tell you. But even the investigation into the attempted assassination of President Trump in the Butler, Pennsylvania, by a 20-year-old Thomas Crooks, that investigation was closed down. And it was closed down much to the outcry of the widow of Corey Copperstor, who got killed that day. I mean, she wants a full and open investigation. But no, it's open and shut, nothing to see here. from the top down. So is the Tyler Robinson case open and shut, as the media and politicians and so-called influencers want us to believe? Is the evidence just as overwhelming as we're told it is? I mean, sure, Tyler Robinson's prints and DNA were found on his gun in the bush. Obviously, they would be, because it was his gun they found. But so at least were 5 other people's prints and DNA on that gun. And the experts say that their rifle had not been even fired. I mean, who knows? We're told so many different things, but there are a large number of discrepancies, and I've heard a number of them, and I've listened to a lot, but just to ask a few reasonable questions, the reason has still not been given of why the bullet from that high-powered rifle did not go right through the neck of Charlie Kirk. Apart from the unrealistic reason that was given at the time that Charlie had a Superman neck of steel. Well, it's like a fairy tale, but initially we're told that the doctor had said that, but it turned out that was untrue. He didn't say it at all, someone else did. And many experts say the bullet would not have just gone through, but it could have taken Charlie's head off. It was so powerful. And the other big question is, why was the camera behind Charlie removed immediately by Terrell Farnsworth, who blatantly violated a crime scene with no ramification? He even used a chair that Charlie was sitting on to stand and get the camera. Many say, well, he just got the camera because he did not want it to be stolen. The incredible thing is he took the chip out but left the camera on the table to be stolen. No, just kidding. But the footage of that chip is so damaging because it showed no bullet exiting the neck from behind. I mean, I ask, why was Joe Kent? He was the USA top counterterrorism official. Why was his inquiry into foreign involvement in the Charlie Kirk's assassination shut down by Kash Patel? Surely you would want to explore every lead. That's why it's called an investigation. Because now Joe Kent left, being frustrated over many things. But why was the area of the tent where Charlie was shot excavated 12 inches of soil immediately, and it was paved over in days? It was actually paved over. The contractor, I heard the testimony of the contractor, they said it had to be paved over on the Sunday, could not even wait till the Monday. He had to try to pull a team together to do it on the Sunday. It had to be done immediately. And it's interesting that the sniffer bomb dogs were kept away from the crime scene. But why did the sniffer dogs not find the rifle on the first day of the search in the woods? Did they just have an off day, or is there a possibility that the rifle was planted there later? I don't know. But why does, and this is a great question, why does the testimony, and I've heard the testimony of those in the car, well, not so much a testimony, I heard them speaking on different podcasts and so forth, but why were those in the car, there's 5 of them in the car, I think, 2 in the front, 2 with Charlie and 1 right in the back seat, why does the testimony of those in the car on the way to the hospital with Charlie, one says that they gave CPR to Charlie, another says they did not give CPR to Charlie? Why does people's statements contradict each other? And just like the Epstein cell cameras going down, it's amazing. But the body camera of the officer, and this was in the pre-trial investigation, the body camera of the officer going up onto the roof just happened to run out of battery power as he got to the top. Well, there's only a few questions. These are only a few questions that need to be asked, among others. But there's been a lot of discrepancies told by a number of people, often contradicting each other. A number of people, by the way, interviewed that day who were in the crowd up close to Charlie say that they saw Charlie get shot in the chest, when we know that the bullet entered the neck, or the bullet or whatever. All I'm saying is that, will the truth ever be told? If there were others involved, will it be covered up like the JFK assassination? Could it be a foreign influence? We know that there's a lot of money at stake. I mean, it's true that Charlie had just turned down it, and he was getting very concerned and voiced his concern and was upset with the pressure that was coming upon him from certain quarters. And Megyn Kelly has spoken about that. Tucker has spoken about it, and others, and even Megyn has come under a huge pressure now just because she said that and told the truth. Was there any other political motive, as Charlie was adamantly opposed to any war with Iran? I mean, let's be honest, the average person would not really know what goes on behind closed doors these days. corruption and evil have been around a long time, but it seems to be getting worse today, and it seems to be becoming more blatant. Things are happening in broad daylight now, with powers to be saying, let's just move on, nothing to see here, and using this rhetoric like safe and effective or overwhelming or whatever, and just expecting us to go along with it. The powers to be just want to treat the public as dummies. Just believe what you're told. Go along with the mainstream rhetoric, because let's be honest, it is overwhelming. I'm just discovering that there's so much going on behind the scenes, more than what we know, or more than what we're told in many situations. I mean, I think about even, and just bringing up the 9/11 disaster. That hasn't been fully explained. People just want to move on. But, well, the powers to be want to move on. Many people are calling and still calling, but those who had families die in that situation want a full investigation. Why did the towers collapse? Engineers say the planes flying into those towers would not cause them to collapse in the manner that they did. Even Donald Trump at the time, and he's on record saying there's no way those towers could have come down the way they did. And why did Building 7 collapse when it wasn't even hit and it wasn't even connected to the Twin Towers? It wasn't affected by the Twin Towers. And why was Building 7 collapse announced in England on the BBC half an hour before it actually happened? I mean, one just has to wonder. As I said, many families are calling for a complete investigation, but no, the powers to be just want us to move on. Were there other powers involved to get the USA into war with Iran? Remember, there's no weapons of mass destruction found, although intelligence said otherwise, but whose intelligence? There are powers to be who love war. It makes them a huge amount of money, of course. There are those at the top, a few at the top pulling the strings, telling, bribing, pressuring the politicians what to say. I mean, you may remember that even Donald Trump campaigned there'd be no wars for the USA. Yet he invaded Venezuela, he's threatening Cuba, Greenland, and look at the situation in Iran today. I mean, what happened? Politics. I mean, Dan Bongino, he becomes the deputy director of the FBI, goes in there with gun blazing, going to change everything, and he becomes a different person. He's left now, but, it's a funny world right now. Believe me, things are afoot. I mean, possibly we're accumulating, of course, to Armageddon. But we see prime ministers in Europe gearing up with war with Russia. I mean, Starmer, he's the ex-Prime Minister of England now, leaving number 10 Downing just the other day, but he was forced to resign. But a few months ago, he said England must prepare for war with Russia. I mean, these people fought with the English against the Nazis. I mean, it's amazing. Amazing what we're told. But remember, World War I was supposed to end all wars, and then World War II was supposed to end all wars. Yeah, right. I mean, JFK in a speech said, we must make peace with Russia. He was taken out. Charlie Kirk, he opposed the Iran war. He was taken out. It's a dangerous thing, I guess, to oppose war. I just want to be a peacemaker. Reminds me of the Prince of Peace. But, it's amazing what we're told. I was brought up, of course, and it wasn't such a big deal, but we were talking about the Reds under the bed in relation to Russia, and I thought the Red Square was because of the Reds under the bed, communism and all that. And, I went and preached in Russia a few years ago, and the Red Square, red in Slavonic, I think it is, means beautiful. And the Red Square is absolutely beautiful. I was amazed. I was astounded. I believed something all those years that wasn't true. And even the Kremlin, it's got 5 churches. I think it's 5 or 6 churches behind those walls there with the office building. I mean, it's just a beautiful city, and the people are beautiful. It really blew me away. Actually, it wasn't anything that I told, and people say, "Oh, you're pro-Russian," all that. I'm pro everybody. I mean, God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. I'm just saying that I was brought up to believe something that because of the media, but wasn't true. But not only, by the way, do certain people make millions out of war by manufacturing weapons and the stock market and all that, of course, but there's the elite, and you might call it the Illuminati party that I heard about many years ago, and the Club of Rome, all this, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, and, but whoever it is, they're wanting to dominate and control the world. And I have to tell you, ready or not, you better be ready for the coming of the Antichrist. So, any case, I digress. So let's get back to Tyler Robinson for a moment. It seems that this guy is guilty before being proven guilty. And as mentioned, because of Charlie's strong Christian faith, I'm really interested in what really and truly happened to him. And it wouldn't be the first time some crazy person with an agenda killed somebody, but neither would it be the first time that political and powerful players were involved in assassination either. So I pray that there's a proper investigation following up all the leads and not just closing them out because it's open and shut and just because the evidence is overwhelming, when honestly it's far from it. They say the mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. And the crazy thing here is that the powers to be and many people who listen to their overwhelming evidence, their mind is just closed. People just buy the slop that the mainstream media feed them. And many may call me a conspiracy nut, but you got to ask yourself, it's true. But often there's only a few years between a conspiracy and the truth coming out. Open and shut case? Well, maybe or maybe not. I guess we'll just have to watch this space. So, hey, thanks for listening, and I hope and pray that the truth will prevail. It'll certainly come out one day, sooner or later, as we all stand before the judgment seat of Christ. If not coming out in this world, it'll come out in the next. But I just see so much going on today, and it's concerning how blatant it's becoming and how they just want us to believe whatever we're told and go along with the rhetoric. Well, I'm not prepared to do that in many fronts. I mean, it's even like all the mass immigration that's happening around the world, and we're told this and we're told that. But hey, let's look to Jesus because he is coming again. God bless you.